The missing episodes of Doctor Who have fascinated me ever since I first learned about them. I've been obsessed with the prospect of a return for some time now, and this obsession has even led me to recreate some episodes myself with stop motion. With the recent news that progress is being made with private collectors, I thought I'd do a tier list of every missing serial to see which one I'd most like to see return to the archive. Before we get started though, I just want to say that if you, like me, are buzzing to see if any Doctor Who will be recovered in the near future, then please consider donating to Film is Fabulous, who are doing such incredible work in this field. So without further ado, let's get started. Marco Polo is such a classic story. I find it absolutely fascinating. There is not another story like it in the whole of the show. In this story, the TARDIS crew stay with Marco in Tigana for months and months, unable to access the ship. Such a long timescale for a story hasn't really been seen since, and I'd love to see it return to the show now. It's often said that Marco Polo is somewhat more likely to return than other stories, due to the fact it was sent to so many more countries than the later stories of the Hartnell years and into the Troughton years. But I personally don't feel that this makes it more likely to turn up in a private collection. If anything, I feel like it would make it more likely to turn up overseas, but the prospect of that happening almost 60 years after it was originally broadcast, I think the chances are very slim. I'd love to actually see Mark Eden's performance as Marco Polo, because the TARDIS crew were with him for so long that he kind of becomes a companion, so it'd be great to actually get a sense for what his performance was like. And there's so many great moments in this story that I'd love to see, like the scene of Barbara and Susan in the desert talking about the mysteries of the skies. That's a great scene. And there's another one where Ian's talking to Marco Polo about how he's a time traveller and Marco can't believe him. That's just great. There's some really good scenes. So I think for all those reasons, I'm going to have to put Marco Polo in the S tier. A great story, absolute classic. The Reign of Terror is a story that I think many people aren't as keen on as I am personally. I think it's a great historical and a good example of education, I think, being given through the medium of Doctor Who. I'd be very excited to see another episode turn up. I really like the revolutionary France setting. I think that's great. I mean, we do already have most of it, so that definitely puts it lower down my most wanted returns than many other stories that have no episodes or very few surviving. My personal prediction is that one of the episodes that will be in a private collection will be an episode of the Reign of Terror. I have absolutely nothing to support that. I have no idea. I just got a feeling. But yeah, I think it's a good story. I do enjoy the story. I love history, so I really do like the historicals. But I think just because so many episodes already survive, I'm going to put it a bit lower down, and I'll give it a B rank. I am a huge fan of the Crusade. I'd love to see more of Julian Glover as Richard the Lionheart. He's a great guest star in Doctor Who. He's great in City of Death as well, of course, which he's most known for. But I really like him as Richard the Lionheart here. I think he's a great character. I think he's brilliant. And of course, Jean Marsh is in this as well. He recently passed away, of course, very sadly. Also known for Sarah Kingdom, of course, later on, which we'll get on to. So yeah, I haven't really got loads to say about it. I mean, it's not very missing. I mean, it is. I think it's half missing. I think 2 episodes exist. So maybe not S tier, I think I'll put it in A tier. I think Galaxy 4 is a story that gets maligned a lot, but I think people actually forget how good the returned episode we have, Airlock, episode 3, actually is. There's that brilliant speech from Vargo where she's staring at the camera for like a whole minute, and it's a really menacing, great speech.
Fear. The horror. The shuddering of a planet in its last moments of life. And then they die.
And since we already have one episode already, which I think is probably the best episode, in my opinion, I think I'll give it a B tier. This is a really interesting episode. I remember when I first heard about this story when I was younger, I was just so fascinated by it. The idea that back in the 60s they made an episode without Doctor Who, without any of the regulars, without the TARDIS, and just had the Daleks in it. I was so interested. This story has a brilliant bleak atmosphere and is one of the darkest Doctor Who stories in my opinion. However, I think if a missing episode were to return, I'd want it to feature the Doctor. I'd want to see William Hartnell. So I'd probably rather get another Daleks Master Plan episode than Mission to the Unknown, but I'd still love to see it. It's a great, curious episode. It's so interesting. So I think I'll put it in A. Oh, this is a story I'd love to see. Season 3 is actually my favourite season of all of Doctor Who, so you're going to see some really high rankings here. I'm fascinated by Greek history, so I love the setting of the 10-year siege of Troy. The surviving footage that exists is great. We only get a tiny glimpse of the guest characters, which is when Vicky is looking at the scanner, and there's that really fascinating few frames where you can just see, I think it's King Priam, I'm not sure if it's him, I think it is, and you can just see him on the scanner for a few frames in the footage that exists. It's really interesting. The great thing about this story is the dark twist it takes in episode 4, because in episode 1 the story is quite a light tone. The Doctor's mistaken for Zeus, he gets called an old beggar, but by episode 4 the tone is completely different. We can hear screams from the demise of Troy. It's really dark. If episode 4 came back, Horse of Destruction, not only would we get the arrival of Katerina in the TARDIS, but we'd also get to see the exit of Vicky, so that'd be really cool to see. So I think for all these reasons, I'm going to have to give it an S tier. I think it's a great story, quite underrated actually. And yeah, I'd love to see an episode come back. This is without a doubt one of my favourite Doctor Who stories of all time, as you can probably guess if you've watched some of the videos on my channel. The sheer variety of this story is what intrigues me the most. There is absolutely something there for everyone. In this one story, 2 companions get killed, and the Doctor also meets beloved musician Bing Crosby. The story is simultaneously epic, bleak, and hilarious. It's an amazing variety pack. I'd love to see the death of Mavic Chen from episode 12. I think everyone would like to see episode 12, really. I mean, it's the big culmination of this huge story. Yeah, it'd be great to see. I mean, who wouldn't want to see another episode of this story when you're promised another performance from the amazing Kevin Stoney as Mavic Chen? I mean, he's just absolutely superb in this story. He really is. And I don't even think this is his best performance. I think that comes later. Every missing episode of this story has something you'd want to see, whether it's the meddling monk, the Christmas toast to camera, the death of Mavic Chen, the death of Sarah, the delegates. So yeah, I mean, this has to be an S tier. I mean, it's just top tier Doctor Who. One of my favourite stories ever. If you didn't know I liked season 3 before, you definitely will now. The Massacre and the Daleks Master Plan are the 2 stories that fight as my favourite in the whole show. I mean, I'd love to do a whole video on why I love the Massacre, the brilliant mysteries about it, the plot details, as well as the behind the scenes facts. I just find it such a rich story, I love it. I really enjoy how the Doctor is absent for episodes 2 and 3 with Stephen being left to fend for himself. It's just such a brilliant idea, and you can really feel the danger of the environment they have arrived in. I think this story is a really realistic, actually, representation of what it would be like to travel back in time. Because we as the audience can really relate to Stephen here, because he hasn't got the Doctor to help him. He's just left on his own, like an ordinary guy, just to try and survive in this city that's on the edge of imploding. And I haven't even mentioned William Hartnell's superb speech in episode 4, Bell of Doom. I mean, it is one of the best scenes. I mean, it's probably my favourite scene in the whole show. It's my most wanted missing episode return, specifically episode 4 of the Massacre. I think it'll be amazing. We'd also get to see the entrance of Dodo into the TARDIS as well, which would be really interesting, with the Liverpudlian accent which never comes back. So yeah, definitely S tier, without a doubt. One of my favourites. I'm not a huge fan of this story, to be honest. I think we already have actually one of the best episodes in episode 4. I think that's a great episode. I think we really get to see the Toymaker in it, and we get to see the Doctor, because the Doctor isn't in this story much. He's not really in episodes 2 and 3, and the Toymaker isn't in it loads either, really, in those episodes. So I think we definitely have one of the best ones. Of course, I'd still welcome the return of episodes 2 or 3, but I'd really like to see episode 1, because the Doctor's in that a bit more, the Toymaker's in it quite a lot, and there are some clips shown in it from the Massacre and the Daleks Master Plan, so we get some clips from them as well if episode 1 turned up. That'd be great. Yeah, I'm not really sure where to put this one. I mean, I like the character of the Toymaker, but it's just the story. I don't really like the story very much, unfortunately. I think it's a great shame. So I'm going to put it in B tier. This is a great, solid story. A very sci-fi Doctor Who story, which feels weird to say, but it really is sci-fi. I've always thought this episode feels a bit Star Trek-y. I don't really know why, but it just does. There's something about it. It would be great to see the bits where Jano turns into the Doctor. I've always really enjoyed listening to that on audio. It's a really interesting scene. I'd love to actually be able to see how close he was to replicating Hartnell's performance. There's also a really great scene where the Doctor defends a savage from one of the guards. That'd be really good. I think that's a really good moment from Hartnell, actually. I have heard that this episode and the Massacre are sort of rumoured to be likely to be in a private collection. I don't know how true that is, but I'd love to see either this or the Massacre turn up. I think that'd be so exciting. That'd be brilliant. And yeah, I've not really got loads to say about the Savages. That's just a solid story. And yeah, so I think I'll give it an A. The Smugglers is such a brilliant story that I think people really forget about when they discuss the missing episodes. I listened to it quite recently and really enjoyed it, and I feel that if it was discovered there would be a new appreciation for it. I think it's really good. The location footage sounds amazing, so I'd really want to know what it looks like. I'd love to see some. I'd really like to know what episode 4 looked like, because there's a lot of action in episode 4 and it's quite difficult to understand what's actually going on when listening to the original audio. So I think if episode 4 came back, that'd be really good. But then you always want episode 4 to come back of any story, don't you, the last episode. Yeah, I really like this story. I mean, it's definitely the best pirate related missing episode story, I'll say that. So yeah, really good story, A tier. Now, this is a divisive one. I think people either see the 4th part of the 10th planet as the most desirable episode that could ever turn up, or as a relatively minor find, and I gotta be honest, I do kind of fall into the latter camp. That's not to say I wouldn't want to see it. Of course, I'd love to see more of the 10th planet Cybermen, and of course see all of the original regeneration scene. That'd be great. I think episode 4 of the 10th planet isn't high on my wanted returns list because so much of the 10th planet already exists. We have 3 out of the 4 episodes. There's loads of clips from episode 4. I'm not sure if there's another missing episode that has as many surviving clips as 10th Planet 4. There's a great animation, of course, of the 4th episode. One of the best ones in my opinion. And of course we have the original regeneration scene. So we have really most of the good bits. So I don't think there's much left there that I'd really want to see. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be very high on my list, unfortunately. So I think I'll put it in B tier. This was the first missing Doctor Who episode I ever experienced, and it totally captivated me. Watching the 2016 animation of Power of the Daleks really ignited my interest in the missing episodes, especially when I saw what little surviving footage remains from the story. It would be absolutely amazing to see a single episode. I mean, I'd love to see Lesterson's descent into madness. Of course, it'd be great to get episode 1 back and see the first regeneration in full. Ever since I first watched it, it's been very high on my wanted returns list. It's such a great story. The Daleks are at their absolute best in the 60s in my opinion here. So yeah, I mean, it has to go in S tier. It's just such a good story. It's one of the best stories ever made. So good. This is another story that I think would receive a wave of new appreciation if it was discovered. It's a really funny story actually, with some great early moments for Troughton's second Doctor. Troughton feels different here than in any other story, I think. He's not really comfortable in the role yet, I don't think. But I think that would make it even more interesting to see. He puts on a range of accents throughout the stories, as well as different disguises, like dressing up as a woman. So I think it would just be great to see it. I'd love to see it. Troughton really puts his stamp on the role here and shows how different he is from Hartnell. You'd never see Hartnell doing what Troughton does in this story. And of course Jamie is introduced in this story, so that'd be really good to see. Some early moments from Jamie, that'd be good. It's also the last of the historicals, this story, which is quite sad. So yeah, I think it'd be good to see the sort of end of an era, in a way. So yeah, really good. A tier. Oh dear. I find this story really difficult to get into. I'm not a fan personally. I remember enjoying bits of the Underwater Menace when I last watched it, which was when the animation came out, but I'm just not a fan of the concept of the story, let alone the actual story itself, or the design, or yeah. So yeah, it's not high on my list, this story, but I would still be excited if another episode turned up. I mean, I'd like to see more of Professor Zaroff. I mean, he's just, yeah, his performance is beyond description. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see another one turn up, but I'll put it in C. The Moonbase is a real classic story. It's the definitive base under siege, in my opinion, that really sets the template for this era. Although I got to admit, I do often forget that this story is missing. I just kind of don't recognise it in my mind as missing, probably because the animation is so good that it feels like it's in the archive. I'm a really huge fan of the Moonbase animation. I think it's easily, probably the best one. I mean, maybe Evil of the Daleks is pretty good, but I prefer the art style here. I do think we have a lot of the best moments of this story there. I think if another episode turned up, there wouldn't be that much new to see. I mean, it's basically set in that base the whole time. We've seen most of the good bits. I mean, I think we've seen the Cybermen marching across the moon. We've seen the bit with the Cyberman jumping out of the hospital bed. That's a great moment. So yeah, I just feel like there isn't that much left to see. So yeah, I just don't think there's that much really there that I really want to see that's lost. So I don't think I'm going to put it that high on my tier list. So I think I'll put it in B. A great story though, really good story. Another story with a really brilliant animation that makes you wonder if you'd enjoy the original story as much if it actually came back. But I think I would enjoy this story because, you know, the Macra props get a lot of flack for how they probably would have looked, but I don't remember the Macra actually being in this story that much. I mean, it's been a while since I've watched it, but I can't remember them featuring that heavily, so I think it would be really good to see it come back. Yeah, I think it's just such a shame that all 4 episodes are missing. It'd be great to just have one. That'd be brilliant. I think this is the first story where Jamie really gets to shine as a companion, because I don't really like the Underwater Menace, and in the Moonbase he's kind of written out for most of it. So I think here is really a good chance where you get to know him a bit. I think he's really good in this story, so it'd be great to see.
Control must be believed and obeyed. No one on the colony believes in Macra. There is no such thing as Macra. Macra do not exist. There are no Macra!
So yeah, who wouldn't want to see the original Macra? It's so good. So good, yeah. So I think I'll put it in A tier. As we're seeing here, every single story from Season 4 is missing some episodes, so I think it'd be really good to get some more episodes from Season 4 return. I think it's really sad that Ben and Polly don't have more surviving episodes. The only full stories that they have in the archive, I think, is the War Machines. I think is that the only one? Which is just so sad when you think about it. So I'd really like to see more of their episodes come back, because this is the last one they're in. So I would like to see the Faceless Ones come back. Probably the last episode, because we get to see them leave. That'd be nice to see. Samantha is also a great character in this story. A could have been companion, great rapport with Jamie. Yeah, it'd be great to see more of her. But yeah, nothing in this story really makes me go, oh, gotta see that. So I think I'll put it in B tier. What a brilliant story. The first ever telesnap reconstruction I saw was of the Evil of the Daleks, and I loved it. I mean, episode 7 is just amazing. All the stuff on Skaro is just some of the best action in all of Doctor Who. I'd love to see the Daleks in that Victorian setting. It's so brilliantly anachronistic. I'd love to see it. It would be great to see Jamie in his element, because he takes on a lot of the action in this story, and I quite like all that stuff. It's good. Of course, it would also be great to see the Dizzy Dalek scene. I mean, that's just brilliant. The idea of seeing Patrick Troughton's second Doctor on Skaro just, for some reason, doesn't compute in my head. I only ever imagine William Hartnell on Skaro, but yeah, it'd be great to see Troughton on Skaro. And yeah, of course, the entrance of Victoria into the TARDIS, that'd be also good to see. And yeah, I've just not got much else to say about this story. It's just amazing. I'd love to see it. Yeah, of course I'd love to see it. So yeah, S tier, definitely. The Abominable Snowmen is a story that I wasn't sure about the first time I watched it, but every time I've watched it since, I've enjoyed it loads more. I think the lack of music is what made me not really sure if I liked it or not at first. It made it more difficult for me to get into, but I really like it now. I think it'd be a really easy watch if it turned up, and a really fun story to sit through. I'd love to see Padmasambhava. I mean, we don't really see him in the existing episode 2, so wouldn't it just be brilliant to see him there? So yeah, I mean, I'd love to see this story. The Yeti are brilliant. I did an action figure adventure with the Yeti and the Sixth Doctor, which I'm really quite proud of, actually. I like that one. So I love the Yeti and the Great Intelligence. Yeah, so I'd really like to see this story. So yeah, A tier. There are certain Troughton stories that don't feel missing even when you watch them. I've already mentioned the Moonbase, but the Ice Warriors is another one. Unlike the Moonbase, however, I just don't really enjoy the story of the Ice Warriors as much as the Moonbase. I do still like the Ice Warriors, actually. I think I like it more than most people, but it's impossible not to see the flaws in it. It'd be, of course, good to see some of the classic Ice Warriors. They're really good. I've always liked those costumes, but yeah, there's just not really much there that's left unseen. So I think I'll put it in B tier. This is another story, like I just said, ever since it was mostly discovered in 2013, I don't really feel like it's missing even when I watch it. Of course, there are some people who argue that it would be good to complete a story, but I'd much rather have a new episode from a story that we've never seen before, like the Massacre, like the Mythmakers, or something like that. This is a controversial opinion, I actually quite like the 3D animation they did. I don't think it's that bad. I mean, whenever I've watched it, I've kind of thought, yeah, it's alright. Yeah, I just don't think it's that desirable for me. C tier. Oh, I'd really love to see this story. What a brilliant idea. Killer seaweed. I mean, how great is that? The atmosphere is absolutely incredible. The setting's great. The first appearance of the sonic screwdriver as well. I mean, there's just so much there that I'd really want to see. There's that absolutely captivating surviving scene of Mr. Oak and Mr. Quill that is just, it's so perfect. It really gives you a sense of the atmosphere of this story. So I just love to see it. I'd love to see this. You know, unlike the last couple of stories I've just talked about, this is one where you really do feel the loss. I'd love to see this. I think the whole story whips along, and I'd love to see episode 6 to see all the helicopter action, because it seems like they put a lot of effort into that. So I'd really like to see the fruits of their labour. It'd be really good to see. One of the best Base Under Siege stories they did. So good. So yeah, A tier. The Wheel in Space is a really unusual story. I think episode 1 is almost standalone. It's almost not a part of the rest of the story, and I love episode 1. You've got the servo robot, it's just the Doctor and Jamie. And yeah, there's a real sense of atmosphere and something lurking in the shadows that is just so great. I'd love to see episode 1 turn up. I think it speaks to something about this story that the servo robot is kind of the most memorable thing about it, other than Zoe, obviously. I'm convinced as well that episode 1 of The Wheel in Space inspired Russell T Davies when he was writing Wild Blue Yonder, because both stories have a weird robot that's a bit mysterious. Both have just the Doctor and a single companion arriving on a spaceship that's in the middle of nowhere where it shouldn't be. I mean, the parallels keep adding up when you think about it. And I mean, the rest of the Wheel isn't that great in my opinion. I think it's alright. I quite like the Cyberman design. I quite like to see more of them. I mean, who wouldn't want to see more of the Cybermen, of course, but it just doesn't rank that highly for me, unfortunately. But I would love to see episode 1, so I think for that reason, I'll put it in B tier. One of my favourite stories in all of Doctor Who. I mean, you've heard me say that a lot, but I just love the 60s. I love the 60s Doctor Who stories. If any episode of this was to come back, I would be buzzing to see Kevin Stoney as Tobias Vaughan here. He is absolutely amazing.
You do disappoint me.
I must have got down the fire escape.
And of course, you didn't think to have a guard on that.
Well, normally...
You're a stupid incompetent! I want the Doctor! Put the whole compound on alert! Have every available guard on the job! Find him, Becca! Find him!
This is what I meant earlier by his best performance. Definitely not Revenge of the Cybermen. This is peak Kevin Stoney, in my opinion. He is great here. Again, there is that thing where I don't really feel that this episode's missing, even when I watch it. You know, we have 6 out of the 8 episodes. I would like to see episode 4. A lot of helicopter action, I seem to remember. An escape from the International Electromatics Facility. Yeah, it'd be great to see. It's such a good story. So yeah, maybe I'm underestimating the missing episodes of this story. I think I really would like to see it, actually. So I think I'll put it in B tier. It's just so good. And last, and probably least also, the Space Pirates. Nobody likes the Space Pirates. No, I'm kidding. I actually don't mind it as much. I mean, it's not good. I'm not going to lie. It's not good. But I'd really like to see one of the later episodes turned up, because We have quite a few photos from the early episodes 1 and 2, and then after, I think, episode 2, we have like nothing for the rest of the story. We don't really know what it looks like. Even the surviving audio is not very good quality. So I'd quite like to see maybe episode 5 or 6 turn up. I remember a bit in the story where they're in a sort of Victorian room, and I remember finding that really interesting. So I think if episode 5 or 6 came back, the story might get a bit of new appreciation, but I don't think this story is ever going to be loved. So yeah, I would be quite excited to see an episode turn up, but just because of the story, it's not going to be very high up on my list, I think. So yeah, I'll put it in C tier. So that's it. That is my tier list of all the missing episodes. I hope you enjoyed this video. I mean, it's so different to what I normally make, but I thought, you know, in the spirit of the news we've had recently with missing episodes potentially coming back, I thought it'd be a great time to do a video like this. So yeah, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, of course, that'd be great. And there's a new reconstruction of an episode of the Daleks Master Plan coming soon, and it'll be at Christmas, so that should give you a hint as to what it is. So yeah, look forward to that, and until then, goodbye.